Good evening, gentlemen. In my last video, I talked about Flynn and his new potential in the scaling system of Genshin's elemental system, which has gone neglected for a very, very long time. With the introduction of the new character Lauma, we're finally getting some love put towards the path of Dendro, which has been mostly neglected for the longest time, with its only new additions to the roster being Emily and Gimick, who more so existed as a DPI scaling rather than a DPS scaling. DPI being damage per instance or damage per screenshot, because let's be honest, Gimick's whole thing was just to get one big number you can show off to your friends. I would know, as a Gimick main, my big number is 1.2 mil. With that all being said, a lot of the information in this video is subject to change as we are currently in phase 3 of the beta, with Lauma slated to be released sometime within the next 3 weeks. She might be a little stronger, she might be a little weaker, but at the end of the day I'll do my best to give you as much information as you need in order to go into the next patch feeling like you are pulling at a proper value. Below you can find the timestamps to the related information in this video. As per usual, we'll be going over regional mechanics, artifact sets, weapon, kit details, team details, as well as a generalized input for me on the future of the character, that being power creep or what problems I see them having. But before we continue, it's time to pay my editors. This time, we're sponsored by LD Shop. Look man, I play a lot of gacha games. I know you do too. Things get pretty expensive after a while, so it's nice to be able to get a little bit of a discount here and there, because at the end of the day, every cent saved is a cent earned. And by using LD Shop, you'll be saving a lot of cents. LD Shop offers up to a 20% discount on all in-game items. And if you want, you could save a little bit more money, with the link down below earning you up to an additional $50 off your next order. And because I'm not one to just throw you to the wolves and have you figured out for yourself, don't worry, I actually tested out the service myself. As you can see, we're currently in Genshin, as you can tell by my ugly filters that you all love to comment on so much. Gonna go on over to LD Shop, go to Genshin, get one of the 3 welcome packs. Make sure you select the right server. If you don't, there's nothing you can do for you. Put in the ID. I just copy pasted mine directly from in-game, by the way. You can add me if you want to. And then top up. Alright, and now that the transaction's completed, we're just gonna wait in-game for a little bit and get our item. Okay, there it is, as soon as I alt-tab back into the game. 1, 2, 3. As you can all see, I got my 122 items pretty much immediately. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So there you go. Save yourself some money. Use the link in the description. Really helps support the channel. That all being said, let's get back into the video. To begin, let's start going over the regional gimmicks. Every single Nodcry character, if you weren't already aware, has a passive trait which allows them to increase the moon sign blessing state of your current team. Think of this like an elemental resonance system that stacks a buff on the team as it progresses. The only way to increase this stacking buff is by having characters who hail from the region of Nodcry, making it to where a majority of the units from the region want to work in tandem with others on the same team. The buffs that you receive from this system are not small, they are very substantial for a majority of the units in the region, and for that reason, a lot of these characters are going to want to work with one another. This also helps to empower a majority of the artifact sets you can find within the region. I can't give you specific details, otherwise Mahayo might come and kill me, but what I can tell you is you need to think of it like the Hero of Cinder City set. Much like this powerful artifact set, it only really works well when put onto a team with other Natlan characters. Yes, it is possible to use this set with units who aren't from Natlan, but the benefits you receive from the set are greatly reduced. This is referred to as Nodcry Resonance. When non-moon sign characters use elemental skills or elemental bursts, they can increase lunar reaction damage by up to 36% for all nearby characters based on their own attributes. This buff essentially adds an EM multiplier to the team, which scales differently for every reaction. This is on top of the new artifact set Silken Moon Serenade, which increases energy recharge by 20%, as well as dealing elemental damage based off of your current moon devotion, increasing all party members' elemental mastery by 60 or 120 depending on the moon sign level of the current team. I bring all this up because Lauma is a elemental scaling support / DPS character. She is not a driver like something like Tartana Tartaglia. She is more like a juiced up Nahida that buffs the team to an extreme degree by her sheer presence alone. So what does she do? Well, I could sit here and bore you with the kit details read verbatim. If you really want to know that information, you can go to Honey Hunter. For those of you that don't want me to spit word vomit at you, we'll summarize it like so. The elemental skill has two modes: a tap, which just deals a small splash of AoE dendro damage, or a hold, which when released, if you have a Viridescent Dew stack, Lauma will consume all of them and release one large amount of damage. This will then give Lauma a stack of the Moon Song, which will be brought up later. Additionally, her elemental skill also has the capacity to lower an opponent's dendro res as well as their hydro res. At C0 level 10, you can eventually get this resonant shred all the way up to 25% at level 10. However, if you get constellations, it can get up to level 13 at 34%. But don't be fooled into thinking this is a pure support ability, because the modifier on this is pretty good. At level 10, the scaling on it is 218 and 284, followed up by a elemental mastery variant of 273.6%, then an additional variant of 172 attack plus 345% of elemental mastery. That is stronger than Alhaitham's mirror reflections, and this is something she can just passively throw out, as well as reducing dendro res for the entire team, making it even stronger than it sounds. In addition to this powerful elemental skill, Lauma can release her elemental burst, which is a bit of word soup, but I'm gonna try and summarize it in a way that's coherent. Essentially, when you use your elemental burst, you will gain 18 Pale Hum stacks. If Lauma uses her elemental skill during this, she will convert 6 of these stacks into Moonsong stacks. She will then gain the Moonsong effect within her elemental burst for 15 seconds. Once she consumes all Moonsong stacks, she gains 6 stacks of Pale Hum for every Moonsong stack consumed. This effect can only be triggered once for every elemental burst, including the 15 seconds following its initial use. As long as the Pale Hum is active, the team will receive a massive 499% scaling bonus on Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon reaction, as well as a 400% elemental mastery bonus on Lunar Bloom reaction damage. And I don't need to be the one to tell you that that is insanely high value. That is stronger than what Baiju currently offers as one of the best amplifiers for the dendro reaction. And we haven't even talked about passive talents yet. Her passive talents being Moon Sign Benediction. When a party member triggers a Bloom reaction, it will be converted into the Lunar Bloom reaction instead, with every point of elemental mastery that Lauma has increasing Lunar Bloom's damage based off of 0.0175% up to a maximum of 14%, while additionally increasing the team's Moon Sign level by 1. Her second passive talent, Light of the Frosty Night, causes the next 20 seconds after her elemental skill to give the team a massive buff. This buff allows the team to crit with Bloom, Hyper Bloom, and Burgeon damage dealt by all party members, with a fixed crit rate of 15% and crit damage of double the base value, that being 100%. Crit rate from this can stack with crit rate from similar effects, such as Elemental Reaction Crit. This is like Nahida's skill, I guess. I really can't think of any other way Bloom can crit, so Nahida's C2. And then on top of all of that, for every point of elemental mastery that Lauma has, she will give their team the following bonus. Damage dealt by elemental skill is increased by 0.04% to a maximum of 32%, as well as the cooldown of her own charge attack and Spirit Envoy Metamorphosis being reduced by 0.02%, up to a maximum of a 20% reduction. When Lauma is on a team, she will convert elemental mastery into elemental reaction damage. When she uses her elemental skill, she will do passive damage while also shredding resonance for the entire team and buffing the team. Her elemental burst further empowers elemental reactions, while her passive talents make it to where elemental reactions can crit, while also reducing and empowering her own attacks. This is all on top of giving Lauma the ability to cause lunar reactions, which are currently, as it stands, much more powerful than any other Bloom reaction currently in the game. She is a hyper-specialized support character for Bloom teams. If you do not like the dendro reactions, this is a character that you just do not want to pull. But if you do enjoy these reactions, and if you do enjoy these playstyles, she will further empower them to a point where I feel like she is necessary to be put on a majority of the dendro teams currently in the game, because she is that much of an upgrade. Nihlu fans, unite. Alhaitham fans, unite. Your king has returned. From here on out, I'll make it pretty simple for those of you trying to build the new character. If you're going for artifact sets, go for the newest set. Silken Moon Serenade is obviously her best, increasing energy recharge by 20%, allowing you to spam her elemental burst to further empower the team, while also increasing elemental damage and gaining a devotion stack that increases all party members' elemental mastery from 60 to 120 based off your moon sign. Lauma passively increases the moon sign to level 1, automatically making it so that you get at least 60. As for her weapon, obviously you can use Ether Light, that being her signature, but if you don't want to use that, there are some free-to-play options. The Black Marrow Lantern will be a free-to-play weapon obtainable in the newest pack. This increases bloom damage by up to 96% and lunar bloom damage by up to 24% based off refinement, and these can be farmed, but it will take you a while to get it to full refinement. If you're lazy and can't be fucked to do all that, which I don't blame you, then you can also go for the tried and true Sacrificial Fragment, which is what I will personally be using for quite a while, as it'll allow you to spam your elemental skill, get a pretty large amount of energy recharge, while also giving her elemental mastery, while also keeping her resonant shred on 100% uptime. For her team comps, unfortunately, we are looking at yet another Flynn situation, where a majority of the units she wants to be paired with in order to function at her fullest capacity either don't currently exist or require a very high level of investment. Currently, a lot of Lauma's best teams are not really getting the high DPS you would expect for a premium character. A majority of them are doing anywhere from 80 to 95,000 DPS, which is not bad by any means, it's just mid, like, it's okay. Her current best team, as far as I'm aware, is Nilou, Nahida, Lauma, and Kokomi, which is a very weird choice, but believe it or not, that's the one. Using Deepwood, 4-piece Night Sky, 4-piece Paradise, and a 2-piece of HP for Nilou, getting a total team DPS of 94,000. But really, any team that requires Dendro reactions is gonna be pretty good with her. You can also use Alhaitham, Yulan, Lauma, Inefa, Nilou, Nahida, Lauma, Kokomi, Nilou, Baiju, Aino, Lauma, or Kave, Nilou, Lauma, Jingshou. But if you want to go for something a little more crazy, a little more goofy, and what I'm probably going to be running, you can do a Neuvillette hyper carry team with Lauma and Inefa on the sidelines as supportive units. Inefa buffing the team's elemental mastery and Lauma shredding the team's resistances to Dendro and Hydro actually makes the team pretty good, because Neuvillette will be able to pretty efficiently stack his own passive. For this reason, this is currently Lauma's best team with a total DPS of just over 100,000. These are using free-to-play weapons, by the way. If we don't use free-to-play weapons, a majority of these teams do actually punch a little over 100,000, which makes her, decently strong. That being said, a lot of times when we do calculations here, we assume you don't have the best in slot stuff, because I understand a majority of you have not been playing the game for 6 years like I have. That being said, unfortunately, with her best team, a majority of you probably don't have Inefa, a majority of you probably don't have Lauma, and I'm willing to bet a lot of you aren't willing to do this team comp with your Neuvillette, but it is currently the best team and the option is there, so why not? Overall final opinions, I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty disappointed. I feel very similarly to how I feel about Flynn, where the character is not bad, like, they're fine, but it is the new region effect, where in the past, MiHoYo has made it extensively clear that from now on, when they release a new region, they're going to release a new gimmick, and the gimmick of that region, unfortunately, is going to be incomplete on its initial debut, so a majority of the new units that come out at the very beginning are going to suffer very strongly in comparison to the later teams. These characters have Knitch syndrome. Their kits are currently incomplete or incompatible with the options that are currently available in the game, and until their new units come out that can properly be driven by them, they're not really going to be at their fullest potential yet. I do think Flynn's and Lauma both will be significantly stronger with new units that are coming out in the future. Flynn's maybe a little less because he does have a couple pretty good teams right now, but I'm willing to bet my left nut that when that Dendro Snake Girl comes out, Lauma's gonna see a pretty sizable buff. So don't be discouraged if I called your character mid or you were really excited for Lauma. She will be strong, and a majority of Natlin units are going to be must-pulls for their specific elemental reaction team. So if you want to get them, get them. They're going to be good. They're not going to be weak. These characters are going to be strong, and even long into the future, as long as elemental reaction teams remain viable, they're going to be on them. So go for it. Pull them if you want it. I'm probably going to be pulling Lauma myself, but with that all being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope this video was somewhat helpful to you. See you in the next one. Stay safe, and peace.